Hi everyone, and welcome to the channel. Today's episode is called Meet the Dads, and that's where you get to learn a little bit more about me and a little bit more about Steve. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share with your friends, have fun. What I've done is I've asked some of the kids and some of our friends to come up with some ideas. We've got some questions, and I think probably the best thing to do is just go through the questions and then see where it takes us really. So first question that's come out is, what is your martial arts background? So our backgrounds are very different actually, aren't they? So
very different.
I guess I'd like to know what yours is to start off with.
Okay. So my dad had a judo club. He learned judo in the 70s when from Sensei Otani, I don't know what his first name was, but I know his son still does the BJC.
Robin,
yeah, but it was his dad. So then my dad started a judo club. I started doing judo when I was about 4 years old. And they used to wheel me on when they were doing demonstrations of rolling breakfalls and get me to run across all the kids' backs rather than breakfall over them. And then I did judo up until the age of about 11, where I got stuck at green belt, got really annoyed because there was one kid who I kept losing to and not getting my blue. And then because my dad had to medically retire, I went, I've had enough, I'm not doing it anymore.
You just quit?
Stopped completely.
Did you go into any other sort of,
a couple of times, because I got into other stuff, music and, playing drums and getting drunk and all that sort of thing, what you do. And a couple of times I went and tried out different martial arts.
Karate?
Didn't do karate, went and did kung fu once and really liked it, but then just I wasn't in the right place to do that sort of thing. And then when I got married, me and my missus once went to a judo club in Ruislip. And I enjoyed it, but we just didn't go back, It was, And then it was when I had kids, and then I brought them down to your club, or our club now, and you convinced me to come on the mat.
That journey is very, very common.
Yeah.
The parent that did it as a kid gives up sort of maybe green belt. Sometimes you get a bit higher than that, orange belt, blue belt, that kind of area. And then they decide, it's not for me anymore. And then their kids start doing it. They come along, you get them on the mat, and next thing you know, they're your downgrades on the mat, So your story isn't uncommon like that, is it? Because we've got a couple of other people in the club. Carl's done it as well. So I know your background into BJJ because
because you started.
Yeah, so I'm about to say, so I know
because I knew nothing about groundwork. Like Newaza was just not on my radar at all. And any time I was here and we were doing Newaza, I was like, I'm just going to do stand up until you went, come and do some BJJ, and then I fell in love with doing that as well. So I went from training once a week at judo to now training 3 or 4 times at each a week and hardly ever seeing my missus.
Yeah, sorry about that. Of course, I guess your journey is very different to mine. I started judo when I was about, I tried to work it out the other day. I think I was about 8 or 9. And it was a long time ago. Again, I worked that out. It was 40 years, which is giving me the right answer.
Shh, don't tell them.
No, 40 years ago. So I started, first of all, at a club called Veriloi. And that was run by a guy called John O'Brien. I was there for about 3 years. It was centred in the Irish Club in High Wycombe, and my mum was Irish. She knew John through the Irish Club. She also done a bit of judo herself, actually. So that was my link into to judo to start with. We were there for about 3 years, and then John, together with some other coaches, got together and they built, literally with their own hands, Wycombe Judo Centre. Shout out to Bill Nobbs, who passed away not so long ago, and he was one of the key people involved with John. So John and Bill, this is in the days before National Lottery. They had no money. There wasn't the grants coming through like you have now. And what they did was unbelievable. They went round with scratch cards, and they went door to door around people's houses selling lottery scratch cards. And they raised a lot of money, and they built that place from scratch. Used their own hands to build it. So, and I was thinking to myself the other day, that place is 35 years old.
That's crazy.
I know, and it still stands the test of time.
That's impressive for a club to keep going that long.
Yeah,
there's a lot of clubs.
No, it's fair. Well, John has handed the mantle on to other people, but so that was where I started. So I was at Veriloi, went to Wycombe Judo Centre, and I love judo. I really enjoyed it as a kid. I wasn't great, I did okay. But I think what I really loved out of it was that I was at the club at a time when British Judo was probably at its best. And because there was no other facility like Wycombe Judo Centre, they all trained there. So I got to train with the superstars of British Judo. So you'd have all the British squad, men's and women's. But in those days, you had multiple world champions, certainly in the women's group, almost in every weight category. So you were training week in, week out with your heroes. Wow. And you know what? I was saying this the other day to a bloke at work, and judo's like that. You're never ever going to go on a football pitch and have a kick about David Beckham or whoever the latest. I'm not into football anymore, but that shows my age. David Beckham.
It's about 20 years
How long ago was that, David Beckham? Who is it now? Harry Kane, isn't it? Harry Kane.
Possibly.
Yeah. So let's just say Harry Kane. You can't have a kick about Harry Kane, can you? But you can go on the judo mat, and you can fight. Neil Adams. Yeah. You can go out and fight. Karen Briggs, or as it was for me in those days, proper legends of the sport. So I was lucky in that respect. I was also lucky that I had a sprung floor, and the kids here got no idea of they. Let's be honest.
An old canvas over some mats about this thick.
Yeah, I'm very lucky that we've got our own dojo with a sprung floor now, and I was very lucky that I had that when I was growing up. So I haven't really had the hardship that others have had. Yeah, and that was my judo journey really, up until 13 years ago when we set about Rush Judo, starting that up, and that was when I was about 35, I think. Set up Rush Judo, wasn't training so much, couldn't really get over to High Wycombe anymore because it was just too much, running your own club and training. Thankfully now I'm at a stage where I can combine the both, so I can run the club, coach, but actually have a session myself here at Rush Judo, whereas at the start all I had was little red belts, like any club that starts. Yeah. But now, we've built up over the years, quite a few players of different ages and different ranks. So, yeah, that's my judo journey. My jiu-jitsu journey, a lot shorter. I've been doing jiu-jitsu for about 5 years. Started because I took my youngest, it was Jessica in fact, took Jessica down to RGA Bucks in Aylesbury. She went on the mat, I watched it and I thought, I've got to have me a go at that. And one of the main reasons for that is that I was rubbish at no-waza. Because, probably the same when you were younger, that
didn't really get taught any. It wasn't.
No, it wasn't a thing, was it?
You curl up in a ball and wait 5 seconds, and then the ref says mate. So.
Exactly that. There was no time given for groundwork, so we didn't focus on it really. And I remember saying to my coach once, because we'd always come up against Pinewood players, and Pinewood players would murder everyone on the ground. And I remember turning around to John and saying, well, why are we not doing the groundwork like they are? And all he'd say to me was, just throw them Fripple. And you think, well, yeah, fair enough.
It's not that easy.
It's not that easy, is it? So, yeah, that's how I got into jiu-jitsu. I'm a blue belt. You're a blue belt as well, obviously, now. Yeah. Love it. Very different to judo. We'll probably come on to, I know there's a question from somebody about that, so we'll come on to the judo BJJ thing later. But yeah, 40 years judo, 5 years BJJ, still training, still going, still enjoying it.
Still hurting.
Oh my God, am I hurting, yeah. Your favourite throw? So, what's your favourite throw?
My favourite throw, ukiwaza. Yeah. See, I like that. Or sumigesh. They're two of my favourite throws. And kouchi. No, ouchi is one of my. Ouchi and kouchi. I like foot sweeps a lot.
See, I'm thinking about when I fight you in training. You always go with the you most successful when you go for uchimata and then go for the kouchi.
Yeah. Well, I go uchimata, kouchi, or I go straight for an ouchi.
They're not going to want to hear this shit.
No, that's it. But yeah. So to cut a long story short, my favourite technique is it's just foot sweeps. I like foot sweeps. All different ones.
See, for me, when I was growing up, I used to love teguruma, but you're not allowed to do that now. But that was teguruma, which was a big pickup. Right. So you grab the leg, you pick them up. That was because I was short and stocky. Yeah. Anyone who turned in on me was getting picked up. So that used to be my favourite. And then obviously they changed the rules, which buggered me up a little bit. Then I think it was like a Seotoshi, and I still kind of do that sometimes now.
I'd say Seotoshi is one of yours.
I say that, if I'm honest now, Seotoshi, foot sweeps. To look at, not that I can do, because I can't do it very well, but to watch, my favourite throw by far is uchimata. When I watch that at top international level, that's the king of throws.
See, I think one of my favourite throws if someone catches it, it's one of the most brutal. It's just Osoto.
Yeah.
Because when you see like, is it Ono?
Yeah.
Him doing Osoto, there's some brutal ones. And everyone, there's loads of Uchimatas. Everyone does Uchimata.
Well, not everyone can. That one. I don't. Right, next one. Who is your favourite GB player of all time? I'll answer that if you like.
Yeah, you answer that. I don't know if I've got one.
For me, I guess I have to go back to the era when I was younger. If I'm going to talk about the greatest judo player from GB of all time, you can't have that conversation without mentioning Neil Adams. You can't have that conversation without talking about Craig Fallon, Graham Randall, and if you start looking at some of the women, you've got Nikki Fairbrother. She was a world champion and she got Olympic silver. Kate Howie got the same as that. Diane Bell, Sharon Rendell, Anne Hughes, Loretta Cossack-Doyle, Jane Bridge, and there's one big omission there. My favourite, and who I think is the greatest of all time, by far.
Of British?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
By far, Karen Briggs. Karen Briggs, 4 times world champion. Well, you think in those days, they used to do the world championships every other year. So it's not like every year like it is now.
So that's about 8 years.
Well, yeah, and she got into a final of another one and got silver. So over 10 years, she reached the final every time for 10 years. And out of 5, she won 4.
Jesus.
I think don't quote me on it, I think she's European champion about 5 or 6 times and silver medalist an equal amount of times as that. I mean, unbelievable. But not only that, every fight she was going, you knew there was going to be a Nippon. It was never going to be a Koka or a Yuko or on flags in those days. It was always going to be a Nippon. It was either going to be big taker room pickup for a 48 kilo player. That's crazy. Yeah. Tomonagi, again spectacular. Drop Tai Toshi, and the groundwork, her turnovers into Sangaku were incredible. And I know what people say. They'll go, well, in those days, don't forget there wasn't as many countries competing, there wasn't as many women competing, and I get that. That's all true. But I say right now, and you ask anyone who was around in judo then that's still around judo now, they'll say the same thing. If she was fighting today, she'd be a world champion now. Because she weren't just better than everyone else, she was head and shoulders better. Yeah. So for me, shout out to Karen Briggs, she is by far the greatest of all time. There you go. Let's look. Ooh.
Who's your favourite player from overseas? See, someone who I've been watching a lot of is Yarden Gerby.
Okay.
I watch a lot of her videos because I particularly, for jiu-jitsu wise, love the Gerby choke. It's one of my favourite chokes and all the different variants of it. So when I learned that one and I watched her, it was the World Championships where they'd actually banned it, but it hadn't got round to the referees. And she won the last 3 fights and won the World Championships with it. And afterwards they were like, she shouldn't have been allowed to do that. But she's already done it. So
I've seen it. I didn't realise it was banned at the time.
Yeah, because the rule had
come banned it since.
Yeah, the rule had come in just before that World Championship, but the refs hadn't been told about it because there was controversy about it. Oh, okay. And so I've sort of researched that particular choke quite a lot. But she's got a lot of videos that I've watched on YouTube and some really good techniques.
See, that's come right out of left field. I wasn't expecting that.
Really?
I like that though, because that's not the usual. The usual's it's Koga, it's Ono, it's Abe,
I mean, they're spectacular, but I just...
No, I'm with you.
Yeah.
My favourite player isn't one of them. My favourite player is Ilias Iliadis, purely because he's a legend.
Yeah.
He's won world medals at under 73s, I think was his first world title. I might be wrong, might be his Olympics, but he definitely got either Olympic or world gold at 73s. He's then fought 81s, 90s and under 100s. Jesus. He's like, wow. have kit, we'll fight. Yeah. He don't care what weight he's in.
Was he just putting weights in his gi or whatever
and every
up?
time he walks on the mat, he was always laughing, smiling, joking, and he was just a monster. Yeah. His throws were incredible and he'd smash everyone. Iliadis, legend. Right, what we got next? What is your... I got it. Ooh, do we go there now? I don't know. What is your view on the BJJ judo debate? Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, tell your friends. Please, leave some comments. If you've got any questions, we'll be happy to answer them. See you for the next episode.